gotta say, I didn't quite expect this crowd. This is amazing. This is absolutely amazing. And I'm thrilled to be here. And I want to thank Beth for her kind words. She did not put in one really important fact. My wife Ann and I spent our honeymoon in Staunton in November of 1984. We love this community. We got married in my Catholic church in Richmond, St. Elizabeth's Parish, and we came up and spent our honeymoon in the valley and spent a couple of days right here. And I've always loved Staunton and love being back. And I want to thank Beth for her kind words. And how about Beth and Frank for being party chairs? It's not an easy job. I've known this man, Frank, for a very long time, and I know we have a lot of good folks from Augusta too. So not just shout out to the folks from Staunton, but from Augusta County towns and others who are visiting as well. Thank you for coming and being part of it. And to your Mayor Carolyn Dolmayer, I always say, Carolyn and I have worked together on important issues. She shared priorities of the city, federal things that can be done to be helpful, or maybe sometimes more importantly, things we shouldn't do that would be harmful. But I always say to anybody, if I'm good at anything in politics, and that's a big if, but if I am, it's because I was a local elected official. Yeah. If you're a city council person or supervisor or mayor, you have to be accessible. You have to produce a result. You can be proud of your party, but usually on the local issues after the election, what people want you to do is do something tangible to improve their quality of life. And I have tried to take that lesson from 8 years in local office in Richmond into my work in the Senate. I'm really happy you're here. I've got a couple of staffers with me, and I want to just tell you who they are because they're really important people. I've got my lead guy, Adam, who's buzzing around here somewhere. I've got Tyler, my executive assistant, the tallest guy in the room. I have two of my folks who work with me on fundraising and politics, Taylor and Ellie. And then I also have my press secretary on my campaign, my re-election campaign, Ian, who are here with me. And I'll tell you why we're here, tell you what we're up to in the Senate, tell you about 2018 in the race, and then I'd love to take some questions. And what I'll do is I'll take a few, but then I'll also mingle around because I know there's some people out in the hall who might want to have a chance to ask them too, and then wouldn't be able to ask in this way. First, even before why I'm here, thank you. I have been in elected office now for 24 years in Virginia, first in Richmond and then at a state office level and now in the Senate. And the support, encouragement, constructive criticism, feedback, etc. that I've gotten from people, but especially support, has been pretty amazing. And we really, Ann and I both, for 33 years, we've been all in for Virginia in our own way. Beth told you a little bit about my wife. She's my favorite public servant, legal aid lawyer, juvenile court judge, first lady, secretary of education, community college, now on the State Board of Education. We've been all in for Virginia because, like you, we've been trying to create a Virginia that works for all, with education opportunities for all, and health care for all, and equality for all, and dignity for all. And I'm so proud of the direction that Virginia is moving. So proud, and you should take some pride in that. Of course, there's not a single thing we're doing that we can't do a lot better. You can never be complacent. But when I first ran for state office for lieutenant governor in 2001, we were redder than red. Redder than red. Every statewide official was Republican. We really had been red in presidential years since 1948, with one quirky counterexample in 1964. The decade of the 90s had been a wipeout decade where Democrats had won virtually anything at the state level. Today, every statewide official in Virginia is a Democrat. We've gone blue 3 presidential elections in a row, won 4 of the last 5 governor's races. Democrats have won the last 10 statewide races. There is no better turnaround project in this country from red to blue in the last 25 years than Virginia, and it has been you, this generation of Virginians, that has made that happen. And you should take some pride in it. And in fact, the most recent election is the one I want to focus on, November 2017, sweeping the statewide seats, winning 15 seats in the House of Delegates, and other seats all over the Commonwealth, local elections. I want to tell you what that meant. I think you know what it means to Virginia. It means that we will get Medicaid expansion done finally. But we have much better chance of redistricting in 2021 being done right rather than So I think you have a sense about what it might mean in Virginia, but I want to tell you what it means nationally. Because this nation needed a hope injection. It's been a tough year in 2017. It's been a challenging year. People who are deeply afraid, and rightfully so, of things that are happening with this administration. And there have been some special elections during the year and key high-profile races that maybe hadn't worked out the way everybody wanted. And when it came to November of 2017, people were really, really looking at Virginia. There were two races, New Jersey and Virginia. New Jersey was not really viewed as a national bellwether, but the Virginia elections were being viewed as what is the mood of this country? A bellwether state, a competitive state, what is the mood of this country a year into this administration? I walked into the Senate the Monday morning before the election. I had done 43 events in the 3 weekends before the election for House candidates and others around the state. And I had a good feeling about the way the races were going to go. But I walked in and my Senate colleagues said to me, we saw in Morning Joe this morning, they said Democrats were going to lose. And they were very worked up. And frankly, at the national level, the party was still fighting about, was the 2016 primary rigged? And they were looking in the rearview mirror with a sense of despondency and despair and worry. And that was the day before the election. And then I went back into the Senate Wednesday morning and people came up to me and said, you have given us some optimism. Now we can look forward to 2018 all over this country because you had young people running in first-time races, you had dramatic energy and turnout, you had folks doing volunteerism and grassroots, and you produced a good result. You have given us hope that we can have good results in our states too in 2018. That's what you did. You gave this country a hope injection in November of 2018. I am here first weekend of the year. My wife and I spent a couple of days at home over Christmas, and what we decided we wanted to do, since I'm on the ballot and I'm asking to be reelected this year, is first weekend of the year, it'll probably be cold, but let's go out and start Friday morning and go Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and hit as many places as we can to show folks that we're really, really serious about running hard and winning. And we started at 11 o'clock Friday in Farmville, and we worked our way west along Route 58, got to Bristol and Abingdon, and we worked our way up I-81. This is the last event of the 3-day swing. We have had wonderful crowds, although none so big as this one. And we've been talking about, look, I love being in the Senate, frustrations abound, and I can give you 2 hours of that. But I love being in the Senate because I love battling. I'm on the Armed Services Committee. There's no state that's more connected to the Defense Mission of the United States than Virginia is. Not just active and Guard and Reserve, but military families and veterans and DOD civilians and DOD contractors and ROTC kids. We are so connected to the mission. My wife and I are the only couple in the Senate that has a child in the military. Our oldest boy's in the Marine Corps. That's a little bit unusual. So trying to make sure that we protect, including protecting against a president who's shredding diplomacy. We've got to have strong diplomacy. I'm on the Foreign Relations Committee because it's not just about military strength. You've got to have strong diplomacy, strength of your moral example, connections, Fulbright scholarships, Peace Corps, sound immigration policies that allow people to come here to experience and learn about what a great country we have. I do that on foreign relations. I'm on the Budget Committee, battling every day for appropriate budgetary priorities, for all the priorities we care about. But as Beth mentioned, I hit my stride. I got a consolation prize for being on a national ticket and losing, which was they let me get on the committee I most wanted to be on: health, education, labor, pensions. All on one committee. All health care, all education, all labor and workforce rules, pensions for everybody. That's the committee I most wanted to be on. Because what does a mayor and governor know? I knew education and I knew health care. And finally, I can put that to work. We've waged a pitched battle, and because of you, we've thus far succeeded. They wanted to eliminate the Affordable Care Act and take health insurance away from 32 million people. We've not been able to stop the administration from hurting health care. but we blocked him from eliminating it, and now we have to move forward and get past that and start to improve it. And on the Help Committee, I get a chance to do it. I've got a bill called Medicare X with Senator Michael Bennet of Colorado to basically direct Medicare to develop an insurance policy for working age people that they would sell to anybody who's willing to pay the premium to buy it. And because Medicare already has a nationwide distribution network in every zip code, and a provider network, and a fee schedule, and they don't have to pay a lot of advertising because everybody knows Medicare. They don't have to pay state and local taxes. They don't have to collect a big profit margin. Medicare policy could be offered affordably to people in a way that would give them an additional option to bring prices down. So these are the kinds of things that we can do. This is a community that values education with Mary Washington here, and community colleges just up the road. Mary Baldwin, yeah. Community colleges. I am punch drunk after 3 days. Community colleges close by, UVA close by. It's a community that understands the power of education. This year, we will rewrite the Higher Education Act on the Help Committee. And I am very focused on two things in the Higher Education Act. Making sure that community colleges are recognized for what they do. In the last version of the Higher Ed Act, community colleges are included, but they're not spotlighted. Well, today, community colleges do so much more, providing skills and credentials. I want to make sure community colleges are elevated, and I also want to make sure, because I came out of a family where my dad ran an ironworking and welding shop, that we tell kids that career and technical training is every bit as valid and important and worthy as colleges. We've got to broadly define. So these are some of the priorities that I want to work on. Again, we've been all in for Virginia because we want a Virginia that works for all, whether it's education or healthcare or jobs. It shouldn't matter what region you're in. It shouldn't matter where your parents came from. It shouldn't matter whether you have an accent or not. We in Virginia benefit from the great richness and diversity of the population. We want a Virginia that lives up to the name Commonwealth. Only 4 states call themselves Commonwealths, and if you call yourself a Commonwealth, you've chosen to not just use the generic label of state. You've chosen to emphasize a word that is a word meaning community. The wealth we hold in common. We say that about ourselves, but we do have to do so much more to really make that true. And it's a Virginia that works for all is what we're up to. Let me tell you about 2018, and then I'll open it up and maybe take some questions. This is my 10th race.